There's a quote by Price Pritchett, and he says, "Most people confuse wishing and wanting with pursuing. You must place your trust in action." And I had this big, huge dream. I was a 19-year-old college dropout, and I decided I was going to be a travel inspirational writer. I was going to make it big, except for I was a college dropout and I had no idea what I was doing. And I kind of got to this point where there's a Hunter S. Thompson quote from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And he says, "God, if you don't take care of me, you're going to have me on your hands." And I got to this point where I didn't know how. Maybe you can relate to that. You have this big dream that you want in your life. Maybe you don't exactly know how, or you aren't even sure if it's even possible, if you can even do it. And you're kind of standing on the edge between the known and the unknown, between your current reality and the future that you want, but you aren't sure if it's possible. You're balancing between different dimensions and you aren't really sure, right? So I get to this point and I'm like, "God, if you don't take care of me, you're going to have me on your hands." And I didn't know what to do. So I just decided I would take the biggest, craziest actions I possibly could and then basically try to force the universe to show up for me, to make things happen for me. And so I'm going to share with you one very powerful technique that you can use to have incredible things start to happen in your life. And I'm going to share with you the success story, insane success story that happened from using this very simple and easy technique. My name is Jake with JakeDucey.com. Thanks for watching this video. If you're new here and there's 9 million other videos you could have watched, thanks for stumbling on this one. If you're a returner, make sure you hit the bell notification on this video, subscribe to send this out into the YouTube universe so more people see it. And right there down below is my free success hypnosis, jakeshypnosis.com. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to make stuff happen in my life, and I stumbled across this thing called the Rule of 5 by Jack Canfield, the creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So he's talking about the Rule of 5, which is basically to write 5 things down that you can do every single day and then actually do them. And they don't have to be big, crazy things where you become a workaholic working 18 hours a day and like everything's like some crazy, crazy project. Just 5 little things. And he talks about it in his book, The Success Principles, how he went on to create the Chicken Soup for the Soul series with Mark Victor Hansen, which has sold over 700 million copies of books. You know, basically besides the Bible and Harry Potter, it's like one of the best-selling series ever. And Time magazine declared him the publishing phenomena of the decade. And they didn't know how they were going to do it, just like you, just like me. They had some big dream, they had some big idea, and that's why I said, think about one, or your big dreams, your big goals. You don't know how, you don't know if it's possible, you aren't really even sure what to do. That's where they were. And somebody taught them the Rule of 5, and they said basically, you know, even if you don't have that sharp of an axe or you're not that strong, if you take 5 hacks at the tree every day, eventually you'll bring it down. So they applied this philosophy for publishing and promoting their Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And for 18 months, nothing happened. And then out of nowhere, they picked up all this momentum. They got on a big TV show. The next thing they know, they were from an unknown little publishing company. Next thing they know, they were #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The next thing they know, they sold 1 million copies, 5 million, 10 million. And so I thought, man, I got to do this. And so I wanted to just break down a little bit how you can use it and then share a story about how I used it. So here's a couple things to know about the Rule of 5 that I put in my notes. Number 1 is the point isn't to hit a home run every single solitary day. The point is to swing the bat every single solitary day. So in other words, the point isn't just to make baskets. As a basketball player, as a shooter particularly, the goal is to keep shooting even when you aren't making baskets. Mike Dooley says, quote, "Relax. Breathe in deep, hold it, let it out, loosen your shoulders, smile, close your eyes. You'll be surprised at how many voices you'll hear whispering sweet encouragement into your ear." So the point is to build metaphysical momentum so you get blessed by good luck or random, or a synchronized miracle because you showed up to life. Said another way by Henry David Thoreau, the famous anti-government philosopher. He said, "If you will move confidently in the direction of your dreams, success will meet you in common hours." He didn't say uncommon hours. He didn't say at 2 a.m., like your roof's gonna be taken off by UFOs and they're gonna dump a bunch of money. Like, it's not gonna be some really uncommon thing. If you move confidently in the direction of your dreams and you show up every day, success will meet you in common hours. Just when you wake up one day and you're not expecting it, boom, something will happen. While you're out there making it happen, things start showing up. And that's exactly what happened to me, and that's what will happen to you too. When you move confidently in the direction of your dreams, success will meet you in common hours. So I realized that the key here is to find some why. Either caring enough about what you're doing that you want to stay in the process of it and you're going to make it happen, even if you don't like your job that much, if you don't love what you're doing that much, or you're just tired, then that's when you have to activate spiritual energy and find a why and find a purpose. And it might have nothing to do with what you're doing. You may not like it. Sometimes you don't always like every single thing that you're doing, but you find a bigger why for your children, for your mother, for your father, for your community, something larger than yourself behind this. You can activate that spiritual energy to propel you forwards. So I use this technique. I was 20, I self-published my first book because no one would publish it. So I didn't really know how to sell any books, but I figured if I just keep going in the positive direction, there's only two ultimate ways you're moving. Creation is either creating or disintegrating. You're either creating or disintegrating, the law of nature. So I figured if I could just sell like one book a day, maybe it'll turn into 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and it'll start to grow. So I started showing up at farmers markets. So like next to the guy selling kale, I would be like, "Hey, do you like that kale?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, that's why I'm buying it." And be like, "Well, you're gonna love inspirational books if you like kale." And I would just try to stop people and talk to them and get them to buy the book for anything. The list price is $14.95. I'd sell it to you for $10. I'd sell it to you for $12. I'd sell it to you for like lunch, and then I would resell your lunch for $8. And I was just anything I could get, any amount of dollars, whether it was $4, $9, it was just positive direction, right? That's all I was doing. In my books, I printed 5,000 of my self-published book, and they were in cases of 42, I remember. And so I would bring one box, and my goal at first was to try to sell a box in a week, 42 books in a week, or in 2 weeks. And then it kept moving, and then I found the right farmers markets where I could sell a lot. Then it became try to sell a box in a day, 42 books in one day, any price. $15, $10, $11, 2 shoes, whatever it was, just positively moving in that direction. And I kept picking different things in my rule of 5. Contact one radio station, contact one Unity church and see if they'll let me give a talk about my time in 14-day silent meditation that I wrote about in my book when I went to Thailand. And I would just go down to see if I could get a youth group that would let me give an inspirational speech, and they would buy 20 copies of the book for all the children. And I would just try to come up with anything I could, and I'd pick different things. None of those particular things became the thing. None of them did. They never became the thing. They were all just a thing that I did that was a part of a larger picture that I couldn't see yet. And that's why Martin Luther King says that you don't have to see the whole staircase just to take the first step. You just have to see the first step. You just have to take the first one. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You don't know how. And while I was doing a Unity Church event in Eugene, Oregon, I was from Southern California, and I was just driving my sedan full of books and going wherever I could. And this place, I don't know, maybe they gave me like $200 or something like that. And at that event, I met a mother who was picking up their kid at the end and had read I was going to be doing something. And they knew someone that ran TEDx events. And they said, "Well, it's so cool what you're doing, man. And like, my friend's organizing a TEDx event. They'd love to have you as a speaker." And I wasn't even on my radar. I was, on my radar, and I said, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then that ended up leading to giving my first TEDx event. Then that TEDx talk got enough views that then some niche blogs picked it up, and then some bigger shows picked it up. And all of a sudden I knew I had sold 10,000, then I had sold 20,000 copies of a self-published book. And by perspective, 95% of books published or self-published do not sell 2,500 copies in the lifetime of the print. And all of a sudden I sold 20,000 in maybe 18 months, 2 years. Next thing I knew, Penguin Random House, the #1 English publishing company in the world, was publishing my books. And all of this happened because all I did is just take a little card. This is an envelope, but just a little 3x5 card like this. And I would write 5 things down every single day. I had no idea what I was doing. And you don't have to know what you're doing. That's kind of the exhilaration and the fun of the whole thing, is you don't know what's the whole point of anything if you already know exactly how it's going to happen and what you're doing. That's the whole point. That's the whole fun. That's the whole story, right? And most people just don't have the courage to ever step into the unknown like that. But at once, right now, you're tapping into a new level of yourself where you're actually excited by the unknown. You're actually not afraid. But what most people do is they get super motivated and inspired, but then the motivation wears off, and then they don't know what to do, and then they stop, and then they retreat. But the reason you're not going to do that is because you're going to start doing the rule of 5. It's 5 things. I'm going to call Billy today. I'm going to email Susie today. I'm going to find one open mic at a coffee shop. These were the things that I would do. I would do motivational speeches at coffee shops, like straight up. No one would listen to me, but it was just another rep. It was another way I was showing up to life. Albert Einstein says nothing happens until something moves. Nothing happens until something moves. So the rule of 5 is very powerful. You can couple this by simultaneously reprogramming your mind, right? Because you can keep showing up to life all you want, but if your belief system sucks and you're subconsciously programmed to, be a crap magnet, nothing's going to change, right? So right there down below is my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com right there down below. I made this for myself like maybe 9-10 years ago, and I started listening to it every single day in the morning and at night and mentally rehearsing getting what I wanted. My books being successful, eventually published by the #1 publisher in the world, in bookstores, getting paid by foreign publishing companies, my books getting translated into other languages, my YouTube channels blowing up. I just started seeing it and allowing that to sink into my subconscious. I started basically reprogramming it, and you can use my free success hypnosis in the description and pinned to the comments right there down below. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification is what notifies you for new videos. Even if you're already subscribed, double check you hit the bell notification because that notifies you for future episodes. If you enjoyed today's episode, let me know in the comments, and wishing you an absolutely great day. Thanks for watching. I know there's a million other videos on YouTube and you have a million things you could do, so I appreciate you taking the time and the journey to come on with me, and I'll see you next time.